Hmm? And there she was. Riley.
Oh, look at you. Aren't you a little bundle of joy? Aren't you a little bundle of joy?
It was amazing. Just Riley and me forever. For 33 seconds.
I'm Sadness.
Oh, hello. I'm Joy. So, can I just, if you could, I just want to fix that. Thanks. And that was just the beginning. Headquarters only got more crowded from there.
Very nice. Okay, looks like you got this. Very good. Oh, that's our turn. Oh, look out!
That's Fear. He's really good at keeping Riley safe.
Easy, easy, huh? Hi, back! Oh, we're good. We're good. Thank you. Thank you very much.
And we're back.
Here we go. All right, open.
This looks new.
Think it's safe?
What is it?
Okay, caution. There is a dangerous smell, people. Hold on, what is that?
This is disgust. She basically keeps Riley from being poisoned, physically and socially.
That is not brightly colored or shaped like a dinosaur. Hold on, guys. It's broccoli! Well, I just saved our lives. Yeah, you're welcome.
Riley, if you don't eat your dinner, you're not going to get any dessert.
Wait, did he just say we couldn't have dessert?
That's anger. He cares very deeply about things being fair.
So that's how you want to play it, old man? No dessert? Oh, sure. We'll eat our dinner right after you eat this.
Right. Here comes an airplane.
Oh, airplane. We got an airplane, everybody.
And you've met Sadness. She. I'm not actually sure what she does. And I've checked, there's no place for her to go. So she's good. We're good. It's all great. Anyway, these are Riley's memories.
All right. So that happens to be one of my favorite movies. I love Inside Out. I'm not a big Disney person, but that's one movie I have watched. But so in the movie Inside Out, just a few emotions that they introduced to us was joy, sadness, fear, disgust, and anger. And so the movie kind of like shows us like this inside world inside of Riley's head, and they depict these characters and give them personalities of what they look like. But obviously, like, there's more than just those 5 emotions. Obviously, if you see in that chart, there's like sad, mad, brave, embarrassed, friendly, sorry. But so I feel like these 5 are just a few of them that we might be talking about in the next 2 weeks. But tonight, in particular, I'm gonna be talking about 2 emotions I sometimes struggle with, and that's fear and anger, and like what those look like in a biblical sense, and like what Jesus has to say about them. So tonight we're first going to start off with anger, and do that. I'm gonna have a verse, actually 2 verses for you guys. So Matthew 21, it should be 12, like verses 12 and 13. My bad, but it says, Jesus entered the temple courtyard. He began to drive out all those who were buying and selling there. He turned over the tables of the people who were exchanging money. He also turned over the benches of those who were selling doves. He said to them, "It is written that the Lord said, 'My house will be called a house where people can pray,' but you are making it a den for robbers." So in this verse, it's showing us like Jesus, and it shows us how like currently he's getting angry about these people who are selling and trading within the temple, which is a place where you should be praying at. And so this was written in the Bible to show us that even Jesus experienced anger. And if Jesus experiences anger, it shows us that anger is okay to a perfect extent, or to a certain extent. But sometimes anger can be not the greatest thing to have, and it can lead us down a trail of like it doesn't want, God doesn't want us to be angry all the time. And so in James 1:19-20, it kind of shows us where anger gets bad. It says, "My dear brothers and sisters, pay attention to what I say. Everyone should be quick to listen, but they should be slow to speak. They should be slow to get angry. Human anger doesn't produce the holy life God wants." So basically, anger is a very common emotion that we have, and some of us experience it more than others, and that's okay. And anger is okay to have because even Jesus got angry, and that's an emotion God created for us. You see, anger, God is okay if we angry if it's like someone's mean to us, or if someone's being ignored or cheating or not being fair. But when that becomes a problem is once we start losing our temper because of it. You see, and back in the James 1:19-20 verse, when it becomes a problem is it says we should be slow to speak. So what it means by that is before, like, if we get really angry and we notice that, before we start getting angry, we should be slow before we talk, and we should be calming our bodies, and then eventually we can talk to the person about what they did that might have made you angry or feel upset. And so a couple of ways to deal with anger. The first major way is the pause, take a deep breath, and pray to God. God really wants to hear from us and how we were feeling. So sometimes when I get angry, I like to just take a deep breath and pray to God real quick and tell him how I'm feeling about this situation and ask for him like comfort and peace during this situation. And then after that, once I'm able to collect myself and be calm, I'm willing to talk to the people about like why that made me angry. See, God doesn't want us to just sit there and let us dwell in our anger. God wants us to be people who go and talk to others and do something about it, but as long as we're doing it in a loving way. But so now we're going to go on to fear. And so fear is something else I always struggle with, and it has some good parts to it, but also it can lead you down a dark path if you keep living in this constant life of fear. But so I have verse Luke 22 verses 39-44. It says, Jesus went out as usual to the Mount of Olives, and his disciples followed him. On reaching the place, he said to them, "Pray that you will not fall into temptation." He withdrew about a stone's throw beyond them, knelt down and prayed, "Father, if you're willing, take this cup from me, yet not my will, but yours be done." An angel from heaven appeared to him and strengthened him. And being in anguish, he prayed more earnestly, and his sweat was like drops of blood falling to the ground. So I'm sure you guys, like this past weekend, we celebrated Easter. And if you remember anything about Easter, that was when Jesus died on the cross for us. But so that story in Luke tells us about a time right before Jesus was arrested and crucified. And I'm sure if you guys knew that you're about to be arrested and hurt a lot, that'd be kind of scary, right? Like, I mean, if I knew I was about to be dying on a cross for a bunch of other people, like, and I was going to be spit on and like everyone's going to be mean to me, like, I'd be really scared of that situation. And so, and Jesus was so scared, he was sweating blood. Like, he was so anxious and nervous and scared about the situation. Like, his sweat became the blood. Like that'd be a really hard situation. And so again, the Bible shows us that even Jesus experienced the notion of fear, and that it's all right to have fear. However, fear turns bad when we start to not trust God. And so Satan, or the enemy, he wants us to not trust God. So if we are living in this life of fear and we're too fearful to do what God asks of us, then that's when our fear turns bad, because Satan, or the evil one, he is winning in that situation. So I have another verse for fear. It's Proverbs 3, 5 through 6, and tells us, trust in the Lord with all your heart. Do not depend on your own understanding. In all your ways obey him, then he will make your paths smooth and straight. So basically what this is telling us, again, is that we need to trust God in all circumstances. See, sometimes we don't know the whole big picture of everything sometimes, and like, however, God does. And like, God is, if we trust him and we obey him and what he says, even though sometimes it might be really scary, he's gonna make us, give us strength and comfort, and he's gonna make our path straight, meaning that he's gonna help us be able to do what he has commanded us to do. So yeah, like, to wrap it all up, again, anger and fear, they sometimes have seem like they're bad emotions, but God created them for a reason. And so it's how you act upon those emotions, whether you live in that anger and you start fighting back with people, or if you start fearing all the time and you don't listen to what God says, that's when it becomes a problem. But the most important thing we can always do is pray to God and ask him for strength and comfort in the situations that we're in. But yeah, guys, that's all I have for us tonight. And so next week, Nicole will be taking over a few emotions.